Hi guys, I'm Zach Steele.
I'm Tyler Hobart.
We're just going to go through everything you need to know ahead of week 6 in terms of players we think you should start and sit, and more specifically, just a bit of a tier ranking on each player during each game. So right
Sounds
here, we'll
good.
start with the Texans and Titans. Obviously, you're playing both quarterbacks. I guess maybe not obviously. A lot of people don't like Tannehill, but he's been great over the last season. You're playing David Johnson and Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
Staying with Will Fuller and A.J. Brown. You're obviously playing Johnny Smith. I think Brandon
Brandon
Cooks has a lot of
Cooks.
upside. I think you've got to play him. And then
Yep,
if you're desperate for a flex or a tight end, I think Randall Cobb and Darren Fells can produce for you this week.
I agree. So next we got Lamar Jackson. I think you definitely have to start him, but I don't think you should play Carson Wentz this week. Miles Sanders must start. I wouldn't blame you if you bench Mark Ingram, but we have him at running back 3 and 4. Marquise Brown's always been a risky play, just high upside, but you can get a 0. Mark Andrews, if you have him, of course you're starting him. Travis Fulgham was a wide receiver that hopefully you got on waivers. So I think if you have him, you can maybe put him in your flex position. Same with Greg Ward and Zach Ertz. If you have better options, look to them, but you might just have to play him.
Yeah, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as Falcons and Vikings go, I think you kind of have to start Matt Ryan. Same with Kirk
Mm-hmm.
Cousins this week. I mean, obviously, if you have better options, go for it. But they've both got really plus matchups. You're starting Todd Gurley, as gross as he's been, or looked at least. You have to start Alexander Madison. He's basically Dalvin Cook in a different jersey this week. You're starting the 3 receivers, Ridley, Julio, and Thielen. And the guy we really like here is Jefferson. Great matchup. I wouldn't be shocked if he has another 100-yard receiving game this week. And if you have to play him, if you don't have better options, I think Hayden Hurst could fall in the end zone for you this week.
Agreed. Next, we got Browns at the Steelers. Baker Mayfield, we have him at a QB2. Ben Roethlisberger, I think you have to start him. Kareem Hunt's a must start this week. James Conner, we have him at running back 2. Odell Beckham, wide receiver 2. And Juju, I think, also falls in that same kind of category. Javaris Landry and Chase Claypool are both more so your wide receiver 3 flex, but Chase Claypool's fun. Austin Hooper has been trending up, but I wouldn't be too comfortable starting him. But they're both fringe, him and Eric Ebron this week.
Totally
And
agree.
what looks to be a shootout.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to a relatively gross game, Bengals Colts. I think Joe Burrow, just with the passing volume upside there, you can look to start Burrow, especially if you've got a quarterback on bye. You're not starting Phillip Rivers. I don't care how desperate you are. Both running backs, Joe Mixon and Jonathan Taylor, I think are fringe RB1s this week. You're starting them. Naheem Hines is usable if you're in a bind. He gets some passing work, but not as much as it's looked like he was going to get after week 1. Tyler Boyd, you're starting. If you're desperate at receiver, T. Higgins and T.Y. Hilton are guys you can play. T.Y. Hilton's risky, but he's always one big play away from making your week. You're not playing A.J. Green. Trey Burton's been trending up the last few weeks. Mo Alley Cox isn't playing this week, so maybe you can put Burton in your lineup if you need it. And Drew Sample, he had one good game, but I wouldn't really look to start him this week.
Mm-hmm. So we got Lions at Jaguars, and what could be a really high-scoring game as well. So Matthew Stafford, I think you got to start him. Same with Kenny Golladay. A lot of Lions players look good this week. I wouldn't blame you if you played Andre Swift. I'm at running back 2 and 3. Hawkinson, tight end 1. Marvin Jones, maybe a flex, but with a bit of upside this week. Gardner Minshew should be a quarterback 1 or fringe quarterback 1. He could throw a lot of touchdowns this week. James Robinson, I think you have to play him. He could be a running back 1 this week. DJ Chark, if he's healthy, he's fantastic, hopefully. And then Chenault, I think he's been doing great. So if you have him, you can flex him, or maybe you might get some wide receiver 2 production out of him.
Totally agree. Yeah, I like Chenault a lot. Moving on to Bears Panthers. I'm not really in love with either of the quarterbacks this week. Foles has been meh, and Bridgewater, he's looked good the last couple of weeks, but the Bears have a better defense than what he's been facing. You're playing David Montgomery. I know we have him listed as an RB2, but the Panthers defense can't defend the run at all. He's got upside to be an RB1 this week. Mike Davis has been elite. They haven't missed a step with him instead of McCaffrey, so you got to play him. A-Rob gets a lot of volume. He's the only pass catcher in Chicago that's actually producing. I love Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore this season so far. Not so much DJ Moore, but Anderson's been elite. Curtis Samuel's flexible, and same with Jimmy Graham. He's a tight end you can play in a buy, and he's got a good shot at falling in the end zone in a given week.
Mm-hmm. So next we got Washington at the Giants. There aren't a lot of players in this matchup that are worth playing, so I wouldn't look to start Daniel Jones or Kyle Allen. If you have Gibson, I think he could be a running back 2 this week. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 1 all the way. Darius Slayton, I think, is a wide receiver 3 or flex. Golden Tate, less so, but if you have to play him, maybe. Evan Ingram's a tight end 1. I'd look to other options for Devontae Freeman. I don't have him very high this week. But so there aren't a ton of players in this matchup you want to look to, but there are some.
Yeah, and I guess one more note, if you're looking to stream a defense, the Washington defense has a great defensive line, and Daniel Jones is a fumble machine, so they could actually have a good week this week.
Is Chase Young playing this week?
I don't know. But either way, they've gotten after the quarterback well.
Yeah.
So for Broncos Patriots, we've got Drew Lock and Cam Newton. I don't think you're comfortable starting Drew Lock, especially coming off an injury, but Cam Newton, he's a must start any given week he plays. He's got rushing upside. He's going to have a good game. Phillip Lindsay without Melvin Gordon there should get the bulk of the volume. You should start him. I think he's going to get a lot of work. He's going to be involved in the passing game. I know they've got Royce Freeman, but I wouldn't expect a lot out of him. You're starting Edelman. He's really the only pass catcher I love this week out of the Denver, but you can play Damian Harris or James White. They're going to get decent work. N'Keal Harry, if you need to play him. Jake Butt with Noah Fant out, it's got a chance to fall in the end zone. The other Broncos pass catchers I'm also not in love with, but if you need to, you can play them.
So got Jets and Dolphins. I think if you have Ryan Fitzpatrick, Myles Gaskins, and Gesicki, those are all great options this week. I think Devontae Parker is going to have a great week, so we have him at wide receiver 2. And then Preston Williams, I think it could be a sneaky flex play, but don't count on too much. I don't think anyone should be looking at Joe Flacco. Jamison Crowder's been great, though, so I think you can get some wide receiver 2 or 3 production out of him. And Frank Gore, maybe, but I wouldn't expect much out of him either.
Yeah, Crowder's second in terms of in receivers and a points per game basis this season. It's nuts. He's the only.
Wow.
I don't get it, but you have to play Crowder.
You have to play him, but
it will slow down probably.
Yeah.
So another game, I think this game has got a shot to be game of the week between Packers and Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Should be a high scoring game. I think they're both QB1s. I prefer Rodgers to Brady, but I'd start both of them. Obviously, you're playing Devontae Adams every week is healthy. Same with Aaron Jones. Scantling's always got a shot to catch a deep bomb. And Tanyan, Baby Kittle, had 3 touchdowns last game. I don't mind starting him. I think I'd start him over Zach Ertz, even if you own Ertz. Ronald Jones has looked really good the last couple of weeks. I know Fournette's been out, but Fournette's back, so I still think Ronald Jones is an RB2. I don't like starting Leonard Fournette, but he's always got a shot to just somehow get the workload there. They tend to move the ball around, and I don't think Arians committed to Jones at all. I think Evans and Godwin are both wide receiver 2s this week. You're playing them if they're healthy.
Next got Rams, the 49ers. I think Jared Goff could get a lot of volume here, so you might want to think about playing him. Cooper Kupp, I think you're always playing him and Robert Woods if you can. Like, they throw the ball a ton. I would personally avoid the Rams backfield, but I think Darrell Henderson has a shot to get a nice workload this week against a banged-up 49ers team. Higbee, if you have better options, consider him, but he hasn't been that terrible. I don't think you should look at Jimmy Garoppolo at all, but must start and Raheem Mostert and George Kittle. Debo potentially, but I wouldn't look to too many 49ers pass catchers at this moment. And Jerick McKinnon maybe flex him, but I wouldn't expect much.
Yeah, I'm not loving starting any Niner other than Kittle or Mostert.
Yeah.
So Chiefs Bills, this game should be really fun. Chiefs have top tier talent at every position here. Mahomes is a QB1. Edwards-Helaire is an RB1 as long as Bell's not out there, and Bell isn't out there this week. Kelsey and Hill, you're starting both of them. Josh Allen and Diggs, you're starting both of them. Hardman is a really high upside flex that I think you could play if you're experiencing bye week issues or injuries. He's a one-touch guy. He could have a 60-yard touchdown and winning your week. John Brown's kind of the same way. If he's healthy, he's deep threat. They love him. their offense struggled without him last week. So I think John Brown's got a lot of value as a flex. I think Singletary, as bad as he looked last week, he gets 12 to 15 touches every week. He's going to make a couple people miss. He'll have a decent game. He's probably 2 or 3 this week.
Lastly, you got the Cardinals at the Cowboys. I think you have to start Kyler Murray. I think you have to start DeAndre Hopkins with him. Running backs where it gets a little more unclear to where there isn't really an option that I love to start this week. But if you have them, especially if you already paid for them, might as well flex them. Christian Kirk could do pretty well in the flex position this week. Zeke, I think you have to start him. He could see a big workload if they decide to run the ball a bunch. Amari Cooper, I think if you have him, you have to start him. CD Lamb has been getting crazy wide receiver 1 production, but I don't think you're going to get more than a 2 or 3 out of him this week. Gallup, maybe you flex him if you have him and your roster's a bit weak. And Dalton Schultz, I think, has an outside shot to be a tight end 1 if Dalton finds some good chemistry with him.
Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about week 6. If you guys have any start sit questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll do our best to get to them before the games start. If you want more content like this, we drop a couple of videos a week, so please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Good luck.